What up, y'all? Welcome to Daytime Talk After Dark. I am Al Jackson, but that is unimportant. What is important is I am joined by my queen-to-be, my sister from another mister, Tori Shulman. How are you?
I'm so good, Mr. Run DMC. It's so good to see
Just
you.
the two of us.
It really has become a thing.
Yeah, and it's become a thing so much that, sneak attack plug, we're doing a new morning show starting next week. Yes, yes. It's called Nothing Prepared. It's going to be us. We're going to be live. Why the hell not?
We are doing it. I'm not comfortable with plugging it this way, but that's the point of the show.
Oh, do you want to take them behind the scenes? Before we started the show today, I said, do you want to plug our morning show starting next week? And she goes, no. I was like, all right, well, F it then. Yes, it's going to be great. It's called Nothing Prepared. And really, you're like, Tori, we did this for a year and a half during the pandemic. It was me, you, Chris, and David. And do you think about how weird that was?
That's
we were
something
just in the studio for like really a year.
For a year. And by the way, we are going to get into that. That was due to the pandemic. And Al and I were the two without children like in the vicinity, and we were able to get to the studio and we never missed a beat. So the two of us have what they call chemistry, if you will. Megan Alexander goes, random new show, and I'm like, yep.
It's not random. We are planning it.
This is random.
Why do you say it's random? I already have segments for us.
Okay, we do have segments.
Why do you have your newspaper? Because I called you and told you to bring it.
We came up with the title last night. Okay, so let's be real. Also, I do also want to shout out Chef Pat, who has a YouTube show tonight at 7 called Cook and Meat with Chef Pat, and he made us Memphis barbecue meatballs. Get in my mouth.
Everything in that sentence you just said was delicious. I love cities like Memphis, Nashville, New Orleans, Louisville, cities that are based around food.
Yeah, Louisville, Detroit.
Absolutely.
I would say Detroit is in there.
Detroit is in there, absolutely. There are just certain cities, North Carolina barbecue, South Carolina barbecue. Don't come for me, South Carolina.
Do you want to keep naming states or just we get going? Sometimes Al would just let me hang in the silence, and it's so uncomfortable.
I will let it go.
So what's the name again, Megan? Again, it's Cook and Meat. Cook and Meat, a little apostrophe. Cook and Meat. We don't need the G. It's cooking. Is it with a G? Okay, it's Cook and Meat with Chef Pat.
What if it was with a G and now we do need the G?
Yeah.
All right.
You know why we don't need the G? Because Chef Pat's the G.
Yes. There you go. Look at you using the word G right.
Thank you so much.
Tori, why don't you get to our wonderful sponsor, because without them, we would have nothing.
That's absolutely right. We do want to talk about this. There's another YouTube channel we want you to check out. It's called the Positive Energy Campaign. And basically it's taking what we desperately need to talk about, which is energy, including oil, including all those types of energy, and discussing it in a way that's positive, that's useful, that's discussive instead of being at each other's throats.
Right.
And we want you to check it out.
Do they also make up words like discussive?
That was not a word, is it?
It is factuary. No, honestly.
But it's a great space, and we definitely want you guys to check it out. Positive Energy Campaign on YouTube. Please check it out. Oh, Julia said she subscribed. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Cook and Meat. It's up there, too. So learn about energy. Learn about Cook and Meat.
And support our sponsor.
That's right.
You know, honestly, I think Nick, who, along with Jacob, runs DTAD, he sets a great way to think about it. It's like fact.org, like factcheck.org for energy and everything that powers our entire lives.
That's right.
We do end up getting into discussions, and you hear oil prices being slashed, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I know nothing about it.
I don't know anything about it.
I know facial oil. That's what I study.
Right.
Rose hip.
What about codfish oil?
You know, I don't know if that's good for you or not, but like a lot of women are taking castor oil to put on their face. All Miriam, have you heard of this? You're nodding.
Yeah, but I won't do it because it feels greasy.
It's very great. But anyway, that's what the oils I know. But I'm going to go to Positive Energy Campaign to learn more.
All right. Well, speaking of learning more, let's get into it, Tori. I want to start with the story first, just because there are some harder stories, but I want to ease into it.
Ease. Do you see that? How he does it so nicely? What a gentleman. What a gentleman you are.
And Julia supports vitamin E for your face, which I use. Shout out.
Okay.
Tori,
it's a good rap name for you.
It vitamin E, but what would the E mean?
Easy.
Okay. All right. Asked and answered. Tori. Southwest.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Everybody in the room just felt something in their butt.
They had a major announcement because we have to remember where Southwest came from. They were the hey partner. We're not those other airlines. Just get on whenever you want to. I don't know why I have a Southern accent.
Yeah, but it did feel like
yeah,
that,
it
didn't
was
it?
just like, look,
Wild West.
we're not united over here with numbers on our seats. We're all the same. Me, you. We don't see color.
Yeah,
all that
Delta
stuff.
can
We don't
F
charge you
itself.
for your bags. Well, guess what, Tori?
What?
Southwest now not only has seat assignments, they charge you for your first and second bag. Stop it. Stop it.
Okay, let's have a moment. Everyone take a second.
It's the death of Southwest.
Okay, so
as we knew it.
Okay, let's not jump to conclusions. Southwest has now taken away the one thing that they're known for. So when
Right.
a brand removes that, it's like Chef Pat was now cooking no meat. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like it's taken away the one thing.
He tried that channel. It did not work as well.
Cooking with no meat. and what I wonder is why, and if you will, please write in, will you be flying Southwest again?
Yes, they will. I can answer that right now.
Guess I have to change airlines, Marquita.
Marquita, the problem is, and Tori, I wonder if you agree.
I got in the big Southwest debacle in Christmas where they lost my bag, canceled my Christmas. So I'm on the flag list for Southwest, by the way. Do you know what I did? I called out
flagged list.
I called out Daily Blast Live.
What do you mean?
Like I'm on a show.
You name dropped?
I did.
What if they wrote back like tonight and go, "Are you still on that show?" No. Just like all the shade from Southwest, and you're like, "Damn, I didn't need that right now."
She's SW in the house.
I don't know if anybody's going to be changing airlines because I think Southwest realized we don't need this gimmick anymore because there's no competition. I thought that no baggage fees and no assigned seats was like very different from the other airlines.
Totally. It was like Virgin. It was like Richard Branson. I
Right.
felt like I was cool and hip and young and not at all corporate. And now they just went full corporate.
Right, because why do we have to try anymore? It's like when somebody gets married and you're like, "Oh, we're still going to work out," and they're like, "I'm done, bro." Like that's it. Southwest is on the couch like, "We've been together 11 years. She ain't going nowhere." And that's what it is. They don't have to try anymore, and they're not. They're not even. They are no more like a mom and pop airline. It started as a regional airline. That was kind of where Southwest.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was.
Southwest.
Right.
Oh. I'm very smart and very stupid.
Yes,
at
there
the
were other
same time.
airlines like Northwest and lots of,
Alaska.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of, in a weird way to bring it full circle, the death of regionality and just like a uniformity amongst all of these corporations.
Totally.
Where now you know that there is going to be some collusion with their prices.
Right.
Because if I'm United, I'm going to call American like, you can try and undercut us by $100, but like, why don't we just both make money, make our flights between, I don't know, 20 and $40.
Right.
And just like, we just all get money. Cause you used to have an option like, oh, I can take this one. It's way cheaper, but I have to take a connection or something. Now, I don't know if that exists. I think they're just all the same thing with different stuff on the outside.
I also have to say that if you're Southwest and you're doing exactly the same as United and Delta, but you ain't got no first class, like there's no business class with Southwest.
That's when it's going to happen. How do they roll out first class in Southwest, and what is it called?
Northwest.
Okay.
Okay, I'm so bad. Never flew Frontier, but I've heard horror stories about them. I got to be honest. I'm part of the Frontier Grizzly Club.
What is that?
So Frontier.
That sounds like women that only date a very specific type of man. Listen, if he lives within 300 miles of the city limits, not interested.
Off the
I
grid.
want a man that thinks a bath is communism.
Don't wash me, yo. Okay, this is the thought of this is that. Sorry, I was reading. Shelly says, Tori, I'm on a flag list because I question why they felt a need to put me through the tube and pat me down. Now I get that every time. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So my question is, if Southwest has gotten rid of the one thing that makes them cool and they don't have a first class, give me a reason other than the route that you're flying Southwest. That's it?
Right, they do kind of they do shorter jumps.
Yeah.
Like you could probably get like a Tulsa to Vegas or something like that,
Yeah.
where you might not get that with United. So maybe that's their thing, but I don't know. It's I just feel like it's the end of an airline, but you know.
Yeah. So if you didn't know, just really quick, Frontier is very like, I'm a grizzly bear. That's like their thing. And each of their planes is like an owl or like a fox.
Right.
And then to get a food,
I used to have a joke in my act about that, and I said they put that on the outside of the plane so you can't complain about how you're treated. Like when you get up and you're like, hey, there's fur in the bathroom. You're on the rodent plane, sir. It's you knew what you signed up for.
Look on the outside of the plane. Yeah, that's fair. But I've always liked Frontier, and I get the grizzly box, and it's got Gouda and cheddar, a lot of cheese, and some almonds and like craisins, some chocolate, and some like applesauce.
You just made that last part up.
I think but it's good food on Frontier.
Some applesauce.
I'm not sure about the applesauce.
All right.
But yeah.
Well,
anyway.
let's stay on the subject of flying and just get to the story quickly. This is a little bit heavier, but Elon Musk, everybody's best friend and apparently emperor. He's like, how did he go from just like this guy on Twitter to fucking Magneto now? He just runs everything.
He really is like a B movie villain.
Really?
He really is. Like, he's like, he's like an emerald mine son taking over the world slowly. He thinks that empathy is the worst thing that's ever happened to people. Like,
he's also visibly, allegedly on drugs too.
Yeah, so he
I've seen him and I've been like, I know people that have been on those drugs and they look just like that. Yeah, that's not,
So there is video, if you guys want to Google it, just him tripping his balls off on ketamine at the White House several times. And he's kind of like, goes like this. Woo! Like he like looks up and like does this weird thing. Anyway, go ahead.
That should reassure you with this next part of the story
great.
Because Elon Musk
he's losing it, by the way.
Yes, not only is he firing a lot of air traffic controllers, he is also pushing, and I read today that a contract, I'm not sure if it's been signed, I'm pretty sure it's been signed, but we'll just say it's on the table for them to install Starlink, the same thing that hooks up all his satellites and basically runs all of his things in our atmosphere, installing Starlink into all the planes in every fleet for the United States. So that means that one man with I don't know, maybe it's an app on his phone, can shut our airspace down.
That's very, very true. Also, Trump, if you didn't know, bought, I think, 3 Teslas on the White House lawn today because, as someone has mentioned, Marcy, you're always on top of it, boo. His stock has dropped. He's lost billions of dollars in the last couple days. People are putting in their Teslas. They're selling their Teslas.
Do you realize how much you just blew through that last sentence? That the president put Teslas on the White House lawn like this is the effing Price is Right.
What do you think? He has Trump steaks, Trump wine, Trump water, Trump air. The whole thing is a branded deal.
You can
I don't
argue
get
that
into
at least
it.
he wasn't a president when he did those things.
But he knows branding. That's all he knows. So, of course, when his friend, who is his backer financially, decides that he's losing money, he's going to sell some Tesla on the White House lawn. Jackie Kennedy would be rolling over in her grave about the Rose Garden. May she rest. Second off, there is a theory, and I want to get your take on this. Apparently, Elon Musk wears a Kevlar vest every single day when he's out in public.
So does 50 Cent.
Okay. Someone tell me how those two go together. However, who do you often see, almost always, and people in the audience here can say it, who is with Elon Musk always? Who does he have around him? His kids.
Dave Chappelle? I didn't know where you were going with this.
So there's this new theory. Way to chip in, everyone. There's this new theory that he's using his...
Well, you said who, and then you said a random group of nondescript people, his kids. Can you name one?
No, they're all like XAI. There's like 15. There's like 15 of them. Okay. And I must say that there's a theory out there. Allegedly, my father's an attorney and I'm not going to get sued, but that he wears a Kevlar vest for fear of his protection and that he uses his children as shields because he is constantly putting them on his shoulders, holding them when he's walking in the White House. He had them in the Oval Office. He had them in the West Wing. And he is not always close with these children, but that he holds them around public so that he doesn't get shot.
I don't know if I believe that one.
Okay, so this is a theory. Again, I'm not saying this. I'm simply saying...
Have you ever watched a gangster movie where they're like, this is going to be a shootout, take a toddler with you?
It's
not going to help.
Have you ever met Elon Musk? I mean, he's a really... Anyway, again, a theory. People say that, yeah. So Shelly says, my sister says he uses his kids as shields. It's just coming out because you constantly are now seeing him, and he is famously wearing that vest underneath. The kids aren't wearing the vest.
You know, I'm going to tell the chat this, and I'll say this to you. I look at the kids that has PR meetings all over it, where they were just like, how do we humanize
No, he doesn't give a
this
crap.
man?
No, he doesn't care.
Elon,
Al, he's tripping on ketamine in the White House.
I know,
does
but he
not
wants
care.
to be liked.
No, he
Say
doesn't.
what you want about Trump. He wants to be liked.
I agree with that.
Right.
I agree, but I
And
don't think Elon cares. I think his safety he worries about his safety,
But
which scares me.
Tori, he cares so much about what people said about him. He bought Twitter because he was tired of the hilarious comments
So good.
on there.
Weren't they good?
The
memes.
I miss Twitter. I heard an interview with Kathy Griffin today, and she just I forgot what the context was, but she was just like, I miss the old Twitter, and it made me think about just like sitting in bed, and I would just scroll and laugh.
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
I wouldn't dare check my mentions. I don't know how many times the N-word is misspelled in there. Yeah, it's just like
I would be called some terrible things.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like there's all these like fun things, and they just slowly got taken from us for no reason.
Yeah.
I was using that.
Yeah, can you not do that? AI?
Yeah.
Can't you like do my laundry and not take away my job?
Well,
I feel
Tori,
like
let's talk about something a little bit more positive. We're gonna do a quick quiz. I know that's usually your ballpark, but I'm gonna take it. Tori, if I told you or let's say you picked up my phone,
Okay.
and you were looking at my apps. And yes.
There was a day back in the day where that would have been a dangerous thing to do with Al Jackson.
I never had a weird app on my phone.
No, but I was allowed when you were single and we were in commercials. I was doing some swipies to check for the ladies.
I met my girl on an app.
You met
Shout
your
out
girl.
Bumble.
Shout out Bumble.
Yes.
May you be a sponsor.
Really, yeah.
For real.
An organic sponsor.
Yeah,
There we go,
that's
Bumble.
right.
Yeah, holla at us. There's another app. Let's say, Tori, you don't see the Bumble app because I am in a monogamous relationship. But let's say that you saw the Raw app. RAW. What do you think that app is?
For some reason, I think it has something to do with wrestling.
That's a great.
Really?
It's dead wrong, but yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then Raw.
Chef Pat, what do you think the Raw app is? Food. Okay.
He just said food?
That's it.
What a brilliant thing from the
could be-
chef.
and
Just
no,
food?
there are people that do the raw diet. When I toured with
sure.
Steve-O from Jackass, I toured with him for about a year. He's a really good guy, but he was doing a raw diet. So when we would get into any city,
how awful
we
that
would have to go to
sounds.
Whole Foods
Ugh.
and like seeds. It's like seeds and
Oh,
like all
God.
kind of
How
stuff.
annoying.
He's
Ugh.
healthy. Shout out.
All right, very
that's
healthy.
the homie. No,
Miriam
Tori,
says raw for raw dogging. Well said,
there we
Miriam.
go.
Thank you for
After
that.
I see,
Hello, the beer.
I feel like I'm on my best behavior now because Marquita was like, Al, don't curse. And I felt like I cursed in my grandmother's house and I felt bad.
I did too.
Yeah,
I saw that comment.
You're not even kicked out. You just have to sit there in shame. Like,
I'm so sorry. Is it a gay app?
No,
says
that's
Shelley.
a good question.
Good
What
question.
it is Raw is a dating app that requires users to upload a new photo.
Wait, nude?
New
Okay, new.
photo every day to swipe through potential matches. The app aims to create a more authentic dating experience by eliminating catfishing and fake profiles.
No way. So you have to show yourself every day?
Yes, but it's a really interesting concept
I
because
love this.
at first I was like,
Why
what?
is this on your phone?
Because it was on Reddit. And you sent
Okay.
me to Reddit, and then I just
Okay.
went down a Reddit rabbit hole.
Okay.
But at first I thought it was going to be like just some freaky stuff, and then I was like, oh, this is a fad, and I was like, is this a good idea? So I wanted to ask you,
Okay.
because I have friends that are still on the apps, and they've told me that they think that at least 40% of the profiles are either scammers or
yeah.
cat. And it's
People
like,
use me as a catfish, you guys. Me. That's how sad it is.
no, they don't.
Oh my God.
Not that they
Stop
wouldn't.
laughing.
But why wouldn't you have told me?
Because it was recent.
Take a screenshot.
Okay. It's me. I swear it's me.
All right. You sound like you're lying. Pixar didn't happen. But Tori, if you were on Shark Tank, would you thumbs up or thumbs down this idea?
I think I would thumbs up. First of all, it's new. It's sexy. It's also very in the moment. The social climate right now is like, we don't want to see your fake Hollywood makeup. We want to see you real, right? Like Miriam can understand. Your skin tints are all in. Everything is very like natural, which isn't great for me, but whatever. I'm just saying you want to like keep it real. I feel like Raw right now in this social climate, and it's kind of a sexy name. I don't think that's a
No,
bad
it's
idea.
sexy.
Well, raw dogging came
irresponsible.
up like immediately.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't think you got the point of this app. You can wear makeup every day as long as you take a picture with you in makeup every day.
I know, but it begs me to be more myself on the app immediately. Like if I have to do one picture, I'm going to make sure that picture is like perfect. But if I have to do it every day, you're going to get more of the real tomboy Tori.
Well,
You're going to get more of me.
Well, I will say this. I can only speak for heterosexual men. Your best picture that would be most people's profile picture, I'm sure it's attractive, but a lot of times I feel like if I find a woman attractive, no matter what she's doing, if she's at the club with her girls, I'm like, oh, she's dressed up and looking cute. Oh, she's chilling out on the couch. She looks cute. So it wouldn't really matter that much to a guy. What matters to me, and I think the bigger part of this app, is that in 2025, and you kind of hit on this story, people don't want to. Your time is very important.
Sure.
And why would I go on an app, usually maybe twice a day, if I know that half of it is fake?
Totally, great point.
Would you go to the grocery store if half the food was plastic?
It is. Let's be real.
Yeah, no more regulations. You're slowing things down. But yeah, I think this is a brilliant idea. I wonder if it's going to catch on. I just wonder, is the name going to scare people off? Like, oh, I met your mom on Raw. I'm like, ugh, Dad.
It is. That's a tricky one. That was a risk.
I wonder if they could have called it like.
What would you have called it? Let's talk about this.
I would call it. I don't know if there's already an app. I would have called it Pure with just P.
Now I'm thinking you're a virgin. Only virgins on this app. If it's called Pure, this is a virginal app. And that's not at all a bad thing. But to me, if you're pure, that's like farmer want wife. It's like really specific.
Yeah.
Remember that show?
Yeah, it's coming back.
Is it?
Yes, I just saw an ad for it. I had this thought the other day because we were finishing the reunion of Love is Blind, and there's a guy that's 5'7". He was the guy that definitely friended that girl before the show started. And he's 5'7". He kept saying, I'm a short king. I'm a short king.
Yeah.
And I was like, is there an app and should there be an app for shorter men?
Well, so I came up in the 90s, 2000s era, and now every girl wants like a 6'5". That song that's like 6'5", finance,
yeah,
blue eyes, finance.
I think there's more to it, but yeah.
Blue eyes. I don't get, the short king thing and the tall thing has like become a real divide.
But my question is, because you're what, 5'5"?
That's so sweet. How tall do you really think I am?
How old do I think you are?
Don't answer that.
Also involves 2 5s.
How tall do you really think I am?
5'4", 5'2".
Yeah.
Wow. But do you like that? That's perfect because it goes to my question. Would you date a guy that's 5'5" because he's still, taller than you?
Yeah. I don't get the whole like he needs to be 6'5".
Okay. But
I do think a short king app is like not a bad idea.
It's not. I feel like there's a lot of. I think especially after the girls get over the 6'5" blue eyes finance, after they've been kicked out of a lot of apartments, and they're like,
God.
"This is not. I should not be dating people based on this criteria. Maybe I should open up my parameters a little bit." I think there's a lot of women like, "Let me check this short king out." Yes, for black men it'd be short king.
Short king.
Short king.
So. Tori and I are the same height. Oh, how, Julia? Short King's app is called Little Buddies. Miriam.
No, it is not.
No, Miriam just came up with that.
Oh.
Little Buddies is the most emasculating app I've ever heard.
Right.
Come here, little buddy.
It sounds like an app where you exchange vintage dolls. Do you remember My Buddy?
My buddy.
Yes.
My buddy and me.
And then they added it. Remember his sister? What was his sister's name?
My pal.
It was Kid Sister.
Kid Sister.
Same beat. I was like, you guys didn't try it all.
Yeah, you
all
really
right.
didn't workshop that at all.
All right, so we are all in on the Raw app. I'll tell you what a lot of people are not all in on, Tori.
Okay.
And that is, and one of those people includes Jamie Foxx, because he spoke up in the comment section that Donald Trump is paying $610,000 to have the BLM the
square.
The BLM square, thank you.
You're welcome.
To be totally painted over and repainted and made into Liberty Plaza, removing any traces of BLM Plaza. So Tori, what are your thoughts on this action, and what is he trying to communicate by doing this?
So I'm from DC, and this is actually like DC, and this is it was a really important part that our mayor put up, which is Black Lives Matter Plaza, and it has Black Lives Matter in yellow put on the grounds, and it's like big letters. And so today, if you went or if you want to Google, there's like, I'm not a machine person. Boys, what are they called?
A jackhammer?
Yeah. Those.
Whenever somebody says I'm not a machine person, it's like they unthawed you.
Like Encino Woman.
Yes,
oh,
that'd be
God.
a good.
Really
Come
good.
on, Brendan Fraser, EP that.
Yeah, the whale too, Encino Woman.
But why would she be a whale?
It has a lot to do with the ocean. No, basically they took drill or jackhammers and they drilled away the yellow marking that said Black Lives Matter. So it's so, if you're like a poet, you couldn't have written a more metaphorical way of doing it.
That's such a great point.
He's trying to literally erase the idea that Black Lives Matter by literally erasing it with the jackhammers. May I just say, nothing you can do erases the fact that Black Lives Matter. Nothing he can do will ever do that. We still believe that. I know DC is like 99.9% Democratic. We have never voted for a Republican in the history of DC. Not that we really have a vote, but whatever. But yeah, it's a really sad day. And what it does, Al, is it makes our world smaller, more homogeneous, more the same, no discord. And DC is like an incredibly diverse city. I mean, it is known as the
Chocolate City.
I can't say that.
You can say Chocolate City.
Can I say that?
Yes.
Everyone vote right now if I can say it.
Okay, that's a good one.
Okay, everyone write chocolate if you think I can say it. Because it is known as that, but I don't know if I'm the right messenger to say that.
You're from there. You can say
I'm
chocolate.
really from there. Where the Go-Go's, like Ben's Chili Bowl.
Wait, do you know what go-go is?
It's a type of dance.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And
What's the most famous crossover in terms of a go-go song that most people our age have heard?
It starts like this. You want to just give a beat? 5, 6. Go, go, DC.
No.
Go, go. I don't know.
That was like a prep school that has no idea they're able to play an all-black high school in DC. Do you guys have our chant ready?
By the way, I went to an all-white school in DC that's like really Jewish.
Yeah.
And we were known as the Grasshoppers, and we would have to play lacrosse against like an all-black school or play like soccer or.
Wait, there's black schools with lacrosse?
Yes.
I've never heard of that. I've never seen an all-black lacrosse team ever.
I'm sure.
No, you have lost some steam in your.
No, I'm saying we would go to schools that were predominantly African American, and we would play them in sports. And our mascot was the grasshopper.
Not very intimidating.
No, and so we got beat badly. But I was a really good lacrosse player.
I doubt that.
I was great at defense. I was really good. I could lacrosse my way across the field. I was really good.
None of that is true.
Someone wrote gymnastics tour.
Yes, thank you. Whoever wrote that, absolutely thank you, because we know that that's not true.
He also changed, a lot of people writing, he ordered Fort Liberty be changed back to Fort Bragg. He also changed the Mount McKinley. He changed it back to Mount McKinley, where people had a real issue.
It was
with
Denali, right?
Yeah, and McKinley is, a president that was actually Nick, can you look this up? I think he was assassinated, actually. But he did some terrible things, and that's why we had changed the name, and he changed it back. So again, more isolating and more shiny objects for us all to look at and not pay attention to what's really going on, like the Department of Education being disbanded and all of that. So just keep your eye on the ball.
Well, I have, like I said, we were going to start with Southwest because I knew this might get a little dark.
Yeah.
But I have another theory. About why things are being renamed.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, let me take a little swig. Everyone who wants a drink, take one now.
This is never going to be a sponsored segment unless it's sponsored by Sadness. Does that have any extra ad dollars?
It's my life right now. Go ahead.
I honestly believe that Trump is doing these things because he wants eventually for black people, college students, to take to the streets so that the Proud Boys and everybody can massacre them.
Like, you think that he's doing a civil war?
As soon as they got the Proud Boys out, I was like, what is this, the Suicide Squad? Isn't that how that started? The Joker got all the bad guys out of jail. What did they have to do? Kick it? They're his personal army, and they are now armed with the knowledge that even if you kill cops on tape, none's going to happen to you. So what would be restraining them from going down to a protest with 100? We saw how Kyle Rittenhouse was treated.
Mm-hmm.
We saw how Daniel Penny was treated. Mm-hmm. Both of them got to. Daniel Penny was at the Army Navy game in the president's box for killing a black man suffering from mental illness on the subway. Like Kyle Rittenhouse drove across state lines to kill two people at a BLM protest. And so we have not only just, this isn't even just a theory, we have this in actual practice. So if you are a January 6th that has been locked up, you're probably pissed off, and now you're uninhibited and have made up for all the meth that you missed. And
they did all have meth.
Yeah.
They're not all meth heads.
So Julia says she doesn't necessarily agree with that. I wish I was right. I wish somebody would be like, that's ridiculous.
Right. Four people wrote in.
We've looked at it.
Right. 4 or 5 people have written in, and not one has said that's a crazy theory. Not one person has said that. I think that's a very, very interesting theory. He's already reinstated the star are immigrants. I don't know what that means. Oh yeah. And so you really think he's setting up for a civil war between the tribalism in America? For what purpose? Money? For distraction? For chaos?
Well, if you think about everything, like you pull back and look at the entire picture, it's not just violence in the streets. That comes from somewhere. That comes from a simmering tension. That comes from economic instability, which a lot of people are feeling. A lot of people feel very separate from anybody that is not directly in their silo of agreement with things. People do not talk anymore.
No, it's primed
people
for...
People do not date people that are not in their... We just saw on Love is Blind.
Yeah. If anyone's watching or not watching, you really should be. But
right, and that kind of even tied into the George Floyd thing, which sparked BLM, because the woman on Love is Blind ultimately decided not to go with him because she said, well, what do you think about,
George Floyd?
And he goes, I haven't really thought about it.
And they're in Minneapolis, people.
And I was like, you got to have an answer.
You got to have one way
even
or the
if
other.
It's flamingly ignorant or horrible.
Yeah, you can't not have an opinion.
How could you have not?
I totally agree with you. That was a big moment.
Yeah.
And she eventually...
That's like not having an opinion on lunch.
Yeah.
What?
It's like saying, I don't like music.
Yeah.
Just in general. I don't like it at all. I don't like listening to music. Yeah, it was really... You're absolutely right. So let me ask you this. I know a lot of dictators, and I've studied them in college, like the Machiavellians, the Mussolinis, Stalin, Lenin. We're talking about... Not Lenin, but Stalin, Hitler. All of them caused chaos on purpose, which is what you're suggesting.
Economic instability, and then everybody that lives there goes, our lives suck. What's going on? Well, those Jews seem to be doing all right, and there you go.
We aren't.
Yeah. So I mean, you can just see how
that's not a bad
call. This playbook. My dad used to always say, "There's nothing new under the sun," and for as much as we think that, I can't believe America is going through this. When you see the things, even in the first term, the attacks on the media, the attacks on our higher institutions, and just the deliberate propaganda and lying, and even when you I had the biggest inauguration ever, just right there was just it's almost like a boyfriend who's trying to suss out if he has a new girlfriend that is going to allow him to abuse her. So the first party they went to is no, we left at 11:30, and she's like, I looked at my watch, it was 2, and he goes, it was 11:30.
That's called gaslighting,
right?
Friends.
And just if she goes,
that's what that's called.
Whatever, all right, fine, we left at 11:30. He's
then he's
got him.
I'm in. Yeah, I'm in.
Got him.
God dang, that's a really.
I mean, think about how we laughed at Sean Spicer and how ridiculous the lies were then and now where we are.
Yeah.
In terms of just outright lies.
Yeah.
It's really strange, and I would love for.
Just to add to this, there is this weird campaign that I just saw that you're really, really putting your finger on now. There's this campaign that Trump should pardon Derek Chauvin.
I saw that.
because and there's only one reason to do that I can think of, which is leading me into and if you know anything about freedom of speech, this is not covered. It's when you have clear and present danger. If you released Derek Chauvin, do you understand what that would mean to the people of first of all, the people of color in this country, but also their allies? Do you understand what would start? What that would ignite? What that would do? And he has that power, y'all. He has that power. Pardons are non-governable against anyone but the government. He is the only one who can do that. So if he does it, that guy is out. Do you know what that would do?
I will say this. I do think that he still has state charges.
He has wrongful death. You can't pardon on a state charge.
So he would have
That's
to
correct.
serve
That's
the
correct. You
state
can't
charges,
pardon a state
but
charge. That's true.
Just the act of the pardon.
I mean, just that would ignite such a firestorm.
That's what I'm talking about, the purposeful act.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
I don't
interesting
know.
now.
It's a little depressing.
Yeah, let's take all a drink to end Al's theory.
Oh.
Okay, because now I'm depressed and I need more alcohol.
All right, well, Tori, let's talk about the family. First of all, how's Jer Bear?
Jer Bear's okay. Just so you guys know, I'm going to be on, I got asked just before I got here to be on the Young Turks again. So I'm going to be on the Young Turks.
All right.
And I'm going to be on the damage report. And Jer and I are going, trying to, he's trying to help me out as I go through this depressive part of my life.
Right.
And it's weird because we're switching to like emotional things. But since I'm going through this time in my life where like things are not going great, I would always have gone to my mother. And now Jerry has to step up and be the dad. Have you ever had to step up and be like, I don't know, you have the mom?
What? Are you talking about the script from Mrs. Doubtfire?
I'm a housekeeper. No, but I mean, like, you're a really good girl dad.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
It's different because
you're just a really good dad.
It depends on how a lot of, I think we have to remember we all are a link in the chain. And so for as much as you consider me a good girl dad, we have to remember that we are probably the first, maybe second generation of men that have been allowed to hug our sons.
Absolutely
right. To say, I love you. I told you my favorite story from that podcast. That guy said that his therapist told him to tell his dad that he loved him. And he said his dad came in that room and he said, "Dad, I love you." And he said, "No problem."
Sounds good.
But it's just like for as much as people go, my dad never did this. It's like we are definitely the first generation, because even just our parents, you look at our mothers.
Yeah.
They came up and think about this. When you look at old pictures from the 70s, nobody was medicated. Nobody. No bipolar. No, if you were lactose intolerant, if you had ADHD, if you were there was nothing
if
for
you. Were
you.
Nearsighted.
Nothing. And so people were like alcoholism. They're like, drink more. PTSD, whatever, puss. Like we are new to this.
You're right.
And so
I
do ask, and I don't know if I can ask people because I don't know their specific situation, but maybe in general, granting all of us some grace is we are really kind of pioneers on this planet of, there's my homeboy called me and was like, "Yo, let's call me back later. The WNBA game's on." And that's not crazy to say.
Right.
No one's like, "I'm progressive." Everybody's like, "It's going to be a great game."
Yeah.
Shut up. Don't call me.
Right.
And so this is new.
Yeah.
And so,
you're right.
So I think that a lot of it depends on the parents that you had. My dad was fairly physically affectionate. But just like did
he give you a lot of hugs? Did you get a lot of hugs?
Yes.
Yeah.
But more like it was words of affirmation that I think that, again, speaking of just untreated, I've said it on the show, when my dad passed away and I went to his apartment to clean it out. It was, because you always see movies and they're like, we can't find Big Mama's will. Like, that would have been a short movie for my dad.
You had everything.
It was laid out.
Yeah.
It was laid out like
He was an attorney.
he was an attorney.
Right.
And I definitely think he was on the spectrum, and I don't think there's any shame in that. I think I'm definitely somewhere on there. Thank you, Tori. But and I think he definitely had OCD because everything was lined up. It looked like the stock room at a CVS.
Is that right?
Like there would be deodorants 4 deep.
Wow.
Yeah, toothpaste in the box 4 deep.
Wow.
Just like everything. And so it was like, everything was laid out. So I don't know. I think that I wonder what my dad's life would have been like if he had, gotten medication. If he seemed like a happy guy.
Yeah, but you don't know.
Well, that when you are on the spectrum, what it does, and I feel like I can speak on this. I have a son that's on the spectrum. I think I probably am. I think my dad definitely was.
Yeah.
I did that show MTV made like 20 years ago, and I worked with a kid that was on the spectrum. And obviously, you and I have done a lot of work with Laugh Yourself Blue, so I'm immersed in this community, and it's near and dear to my heart. I think for better or for worse, I tend to think for better. Depending on where you're on the spectrum, it walls off certain parts, certain things just you won't do. So sometimes it's clothing. You notice like my dad wore basically the same, like a uniform, like a G.I. Joe. Like my dad did not try new foods.
Really?
Do you understand?
Wow, you said it like a threat.
Did
Like,
not
whoa.
try. I never saw my dad take like a bite of cake or sip a milkshake. Or my dad ate oranges, saltines, steak, spaghetti, tuna fish out of the can.
Whoa, very
and
like
black coffee.
So it's very like depression canned provisions.
Yeah, and he would also
like tuna in the can.
He would also we would go to Stouffer's because there was a factory. Listen, you have to understand, black people from the Midwest love to go to the factory because they have the slightly damaged ones where it just looks like they got drop kicked and they were like, still good, it's frozen, can't sell it in the grocery store. So just like bring it
It's
home.
called Stuffers, not Stouffer's.
Yeah, misspelled that one. That one has the S word on it.
Stuffers.
You can sell it. It's just like we would go. I remember going to the Stouffer's. You were taking me into a time machine. I remember going to the Stouffer's factory with my dad.
Really?
And we would sit and we would go inside and it just smelled like
lasagna?
No, it smelled like just a factory and like a break room. The way the 80s used to smell,
And
which should be a scent that you could buy a candle. Like when you go like into a place and it smelled like Xerox paper.
Yeah,
it's like,
to me the 80s smells like Xerox paper and Cabbage Patch dolls.
And horrible coffee in the break room.
And Tab.
Yeah,
and
Folgers.
Tab. Yeah.
So we would just go get lasagna and that would be a treat for my dad. But that is when I say that I'm not leaving anything off the list. Anything that's not on that list,
he would not.
My dad never ate at a restaurant.
What?
Never.
You never went out to eat with your father?
We did. He would just sit across from us and drink black coffee. What? Oh I think I do have.
What?
It's so weird that's strange.
He sounds like a cop from Law and Order.
I think the crazier thing is that he was married to my mom, who is the most
outgoing,
progressive, outgoing. Like my mom,
Jackie tries a lot.
My mom was eating sushi in like 1982.
Yeah, your mom was getting her PhD as a black woman in like the 70s.
Yeah, the 90s,
but the 90s.
But it was still crazy.
Yeah,
my mom is very progressive, and like I'm like, how did these two people get into a room long enough to have me?
So weird.
But yeah, it's
maybe it was quick.
Yeah,
we don't know. It's called raw.
Very OCD. It's got to be 1 minute or an hour.
Yeah.
It's
tuna in the can.
Yeah. So
I didn't mean anything by that.
That is. Oh my God. Welcome to our last show.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, well, that does lead me to a question I've been wanting to ask you.
Oh boy.
And it kind of circles back to what we were talking about with the dating apps, where you can kind of customize and choose your perfect person.
Okay.
But is that necessarily your perfect person? Do you know what you want? I feel like in the 80s, you just kind of met a guy. And you're like, I don't love that he smokes. He's a Republican, but, he lays the pipe. And he makes money. And he's kind of funny. And all these things that, I think with life, you kind of, because you couldn't curate everything, like a meal box, you just kind of took the good with the bad. And that you had these couples that didn't really make sense, but they worked,
Did your parents stay together until the end?
No.
Okay.
No. But they were close.
Okay.
Until my parents got divorced when I was like 7. And again, I was just like, yeah, it's time.
It's time.
Everybody that's like, oh, we're staying together for the kids. Ask your kids if you should.
I wondered that
your kids
too.
are like, thank God.
Yeah, the tension in the room must feel
The
super
tension in the car.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, you can just tell
Yeah.
when people don't want to be with each other anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if the divorce rate is any higher or any lower than it is now. About 50, 60%.
It's kind of just about the same.
Yeah, so-
but in a lot of, and I want to get your opinion on this, a lot of European countries in Sweden and Finland, the Nordic, if you will, they just partner. There's no marriage. They just are like, you know what? You and me, we're it. But nobody needs to come into this other than us.
Rather than the government and things
Yeah,
like that.
because of all, and I think that's just like, it's become a major trend within that community, and Gen Z is just like, we're not getting married anymore. It's just going to be like partners and we see what happened. But yeah.
Well, do you think that, well, give me the arguments for marriage, because I think it is a good idea, and I think there are some good things about it. I think it does make you try a little bit harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good comeback. All right.
I was thinking about something else.
I don't know. You just stared at me like I just told you that we're in some alternate reality.
Lee says, totally, Al, I used to beg my parents to divorce. I'm so sorry. I did want to go back really quick. There's someone named Megan on our chat who lost their mother or had an anniversary of death on March 9th. And I just wanted to reach out and say, I'm so sorry about that, because I know what that's feeling like. And I do want us to remember that this still is a community and that we're all out there for each other. So March 9th, whoever that is, I think her name was Megan. Please write in, and just so you know, my heart is with you. It's not easy. And I just have to say, like, for anyone who's going through this with what you said, like me and my dad, what sucks about this is that everything is new. It's the first new trip with just my dad.
That's what
it's
I was actually going to talk to you about.
Really? It's the
that
first
exact thing.
Like the newest time my dad has to talk to me about this. Like, we don't know how to do this dance. Like, we're dancing and it's like super awkward, and he's trying to be supportive, and my sister's like, it's like, just when you're grieving someone that big in your life, the whole family gets like really, you're trying to find your new roles, your new space.
Absolutely.
And it's very uncomfortable when you have someone so giant in your life that's gone, because they leave that giant hole in death. Like, they're so big in life that in death, there's such an absence. So we're trying to like put it together. We have a family vacation coming up together. I don't know how that's going to go. We've never done that without Judy. Like, Judy was the one. So now it's going to be us, and it's going to be uncomfortable. Yeah, Julia says, I had to figure out how to do the very first Thanksgiving dinner without my mom. That stuff is not comfortable.
Right.
And you don't want to do it. And you really don't. And so instead of like, I'm writing a Substack about this, but instead of like clawing your way out, I came up with a new theory. Do you want to hear it?
Give up.
It's not give up. That's terrible. It's first Mother's Day, says Marquita, but instead of clawing your way, this is what's on my Substack, it's just teaspooning your way. So a lot of people, a lot of like rugged men and the Stoics right now, like there's a lot of theory of like, bleed your fingernails until you crawl your way to success. And like for a lot of us, that's really exhausting and impossible to think of. So all I ask you is to picture a teaspoon. You're in your hole and you dig one tiny little teaspoon out.
Somebody might clip this.
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
Is that good?
No, I was making a joke. Go ahead.
Well, now I feel like the teaspoon
No,
thing's
but
no
please,
good.
no, do the teaspoon and you're doing it in the hole. Finish it.
I feel like you know where it's going. You're
really
in the
don't.
hole, and instead of clawing your way out, which is uncomfortable and horrible, and when you're depressive, you don't have any energy whatsoever, you just take it could be a cute teaspoon, and you take your teaspoon each day, and you're like, I'm going to do one thing, tiny, tiny, tiny. Like, I'm going to reach out to one person, or I'm going to text my dad hi, or I'm going to go on a 10-minute walk. And instead of being like, I'm going to make a new life for myself and like make the bed and be a content creator and have all this money, I'm going to teaspoon my way out of this hole. I'm not going to claw. I'm going to teaspoon.
Basically the end of Shawshank.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
Yeah. I think that's a good, first of all, I like that Make the Bed made it with be a content creator and make all this money. Because making the bed is very important for this. It sets your day.
I know, but like that can be a teaspoon. You know what I mean?
Well, okay. Well, I don't want to use your teaspoon analogy anymore. It just seems like it would take forever and it's off-putting. It is. If somebody is like, we're
Not
going to
for me.
teaspoon our way out of this tunnel. I'd be
Not
like,
for
I had
Tim.
a good life.
Not
I don't
for
want to
Tim-
do this.
Not for Tim Robbins. He made his way
it
out.
took 27 years.
And he was in the rain, and he eventually got to the island, and the ocean was as blue as in his dreams.
Have you heard the theory that movie is a Christian movie? Have you heard it? That it's a Christian movie about rebirth, about being born again.
Like the birth canal.
Well, just like the poster is a woman, and
he goes through the vagina.
jail is the womb, and his fear of going out into the public, and then he has to go through. I don't know about comparing a woman's inner workings to a sewer, but if that was the analogy that they were going for, God bless you. But I mean, and then if you think about it, when he comes out, it's dark, but there's a light pouring down on him, and he's being cleaned.
Yeah, I get it. We get the womb thing. We get it.
You're just mad about the teaspoon.
Someone wrote in, is this teaspoon scenario digging a hole?
Thank you. Megan, she didn't explain it.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Because you said I'm in the hole,
It's a fair
so you're
point.
digging smaller, tinier holes.
So
I can't wait for help to arrive, and they're like, what the F are you doing?
So when I thought about this in my Substack, I was like, would that create the hole to be bigger if I kept digging? So then I thought, no, I'm digging a path. So Megan, the teaspoon scenario is you digging steps
You're
up.
stuck on the teaspoon, and that's what's destroying every analogy.
I'm just saying
you just need another tool. Even if it's a shrimp fork, something better than a teaspoon.
Like a ladle. It's a ladle. It's a ladle. And you're ladling your way out.
What are you, in a bowl of punch? Okay, Tori, let's, since we're talking about family. Oh, this is what I want to tell you, because I was thinking about you and Jerry and about that situation, because it is... It's difficult.
It's awkward and it's real. I want everyone to understand those two things. It's awkward and it's real. And I'm someone who cannot bullshit. I cannot bullshit. I have to tell you that it's uncomfortable and you have to walk through it. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Well,
Al.
let me ask you this, and I'm going to push you.
Oh, look, using the teaspoon contents to build you up gets you out of the hole. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The teaspoon. Do you know, Julie, do you know how long that would take? Even when you got out of the hole, you're like, it wasn't worth it. I could have just stayed down there and chilled. They probably would have found me. I got my iPhone on.
It wasn't worth it. Marquita says she hears me. Thank you.
Okay, and Tor, I'm going to push you a little bit on this. But, I sit around and think about stuff all day, and you and Jerry came to my mind. And I know that you're saying it's going to be awkward, but if I've ever seen anybody work a room, it is you. So clearly you have that in you. I think you need to unpack and figure out what is within you that makes it awkward with your dad.
Yeah.
Because everybody that's in this room right now, everybody in my life that has met you, you have bear hugged them and made them love you. Everybody loves you when they meet you. So what is it specifically about, and you don't have to answer this on the show if it's too personal, but it's something that we all have to ask because our relationships with people are different.
Yeah.
When I met your dad, I was like, I could talk to this dude forever.
I know.
So what is it? And maybe our chat could give Tori some questions just to open up. But I think this might be one of those situations, and we are in our head about everything as conscious human beings, especially people that try and be thoughtful and deliberate with their words. We can get in our own head. But maybe you're just like, that's my effing dad. What up, man? What you doing? You want to go have a beer?
Can you imagine Jerry drinking?
What?
No, here's the thing.
Take him to like a weird place and get both of you guys, go to like a black strip club. You guys will both be awkward, but there'll be some conversation
I'm not going
starters
to
in there.
a strip club with my father.
Why, I'm not saying sit at the stage. Go to the bar.
No. Yeah. No, but I know what you're saying, and we're trying that. We're going on a river cruise.
Is that what you call the black strip club? The river cruise is right off of Mobile, Alabama. Yeah.
And we're going to try it, and we're going to just be together. But I guess what I would say to everybody out there is that, like, it's the dynamic. So, like, I have a dynamic with you. I could be in hell and still have a good time with you, literally. But when I'm with my father, my mother...
My hell is being with you in a teaspoon in a hole. I'm like, oh...
You all laugh, like, really comfortably. All of you. But I guess what I'm saying is just that however long, it's just that the dynamic is different. The energy is weird. There's something missing. If you've ever been, it's like, it it's just something you have to learn again. You have to recreate it's a new relationship with my dad.
Right.
I didn't know my dad without her. So
Right.
now it's just him. And it's like,
I would argue he didn't know himself without her.
and he didn't know me. Like, she and I were very close. So it's very like, hi, Jerry. Hi, Tori. Sort of like, let's get to know each other and how you're doing and grieving. And like, I'm not doing so great. Okay, let's talk about that. When usually your mother would be on the phone.
Okay,
So-
I have an idea, and I need the chat. I really need y'all to come.
Go to
through
a
for me.
drag queen show. Actually, that would be really fun.
That's actually, or go to drag queen bingo.
He would love that.
That would be so much
He would love
fun.
that. Yeah, that
And
would be fun.
you need something to organically create conversation
Yeah.
without there being like, because I feel like you guys on a riverboat would just be a slow paddle ride with you guys both staring off into the horizon.
Oh my God,
not
we're going
talking.
from the Alps to Amsterdam.
Yes, but like that's too much. You need something happening where you can go, Dad, isn't
Beautiful
that crazy?
journey.
Yeah, if you're in a you guys need somewhere fun. But this is what I want the chat out.
Okay.
I want everybody.
Gee, someone said the riverboat is brutal. Miriam,
probably it. Look.
that's so rude.
Look, I mean, wow. Miriam just unlocked a crazy memory in my head.
That's too much time to be awkward. It really is.
It really is, and I could just see you guys. Just first of all, those ships go like 6 miles an
They
hour.
go so slow.
I'm like, that's why I can't be. As soon as I get on, I'm like, how do I get? I need to get off now.
Just move it.
Yes, I used to do because when I lived in South Florida, obviously you can't perform at the comedy club every week, so you just take gigs. And there was this horrible gig. I don't know if it still exists,
These are good stories, y'all.
but it was a riverboat gambling cruise, and the way that you could gamble in South Florida is there would be a boat that would go out into international waters.
I love this.
Once they got into international waters, there's no maritime rules. So
Maritime rules?
So then they would fire up the roulette, and all the machines would work, and all these gambling addicts would get cleaned out.
That's not a good part.
And then on the way back, we had to do a comedy show for
broke.
Oh.
You're broke. You're an addict. You're on the ocean. You're seasick. You're upset. This isn't good.
Oh, there would be people in there with their just like literally their head down, like when you were in the 3rd grade and like you were in trouble, because a lot of them were like, how am I going to tell my spouse?
Jesus.
There would be people in there. They'd just be mad.
And you're like, what's the deal with airplane
They
food?
were not there for it. They were not there, but there's nothing to do.
Oh, that's awful.
Because they have to turn the
Comedy.
games on to go back and they're just like,
Let
oh,
him watch a horse race or something.
It was so brutal. I'm sorry, that memory just.
That's really good. Someone said trains are pretty slow too. All right, we are going on a train.
Yeah, why are all your activities 1815s based?
You want to know where we're going? He could go anywhere in the world. We were like, Dad, you can go anywhere in the world. We want to know where you want to go. Because my sister and I are like, is always Judy, right? Where do you want to go? And he goes, maybe Russia? And he goes, in winter? And we were like, what? So then he's like, maybe Berlin in the cold? And we were like, anywhere. So finally we agreed on Vienna.
That's gonna be great. It's beautiful.
Okay.
Have you been to the Alps?
No, I've been to Vienna when I turned 21 because I was obsessed with this boy and I took 11 hours on a train to go see him.
That's stalker shit. That's really scary.
Well, I was in Italy. I was
That's
in
like
Italy.
that Kanye
No, I was
song,
in
40 Hours.
Florence. No, I was in Florence at the time. So I
Okay.
just took a train. But anyway, Vienna is where we're going, which is slow. There's opera. So it's going to be kind of slow. And then we're going on the river cruise.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, maybe part of it is your lack of fun planning. You need to have like a fun friend. You're like, how would you do this itinerary if you didn't hate joy? Okay, let's.
It's called the I Hate Joy boat. It's weird.
Honestly, a black.
Someone goes, wow, Tori.
A black. It's really. You guys, honestly, if you want to stay domestic, go. We talked about it.
It's already planned. It's already planned.
Go to Memphis. Go to New Orleans. Go somewhere where there are some people of color. Because your dad. Here's what
he grew up in that
Yes.
in that area in South Carolina.
Yeah, your dad needs to go somewhere where there are women of color. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you go over to a table of black women, they are 2 shards deep.
Chardonnays.
Yes, and you go, hey guys, that's my dad. It's some dancing.
He is
going on
looking
over
to
there."
date now.
And you just go, can one of you guys show him a good time?
What?
And then by a round, your dad will be dancing.
Oh, and he
very
loves
quickly.
to
And
dance.
no one is
He
going to
loves
turn
to
down
dance.
a 53-year-old black woman that says, let's dance.
You're right. And my dad was the only white man at a black debutante once.
But he was lost. He just went in there, asked for directions.
He wasn't lost.
How do I get out of this neighborhood? Follow the railroad tracks. Got it.
Not at all. Not at all.
Your dad
That's
is
awesome.
very comfortable around people of color. But
That's
like,
really
honestly,
cool. That's a great idea.
I think you need, because your dad is just recreating scenarios that are in his head.
Yeah.
Your dad needs to see something that he does not know exists so that it will expand his mind.
Should we get Jerry on hallucinogenics?
Yeah, but that might be a bummer trip.
Yeah.
You want to make sure he's in a good headspace. You want to make sure that he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. What if Jerry's on ayahuasca?
I don't think he needs that.
No, you're right. No, I like this idea.
Go to
more,
New Orleans,
more
hear some
fun.
real jazz,
Yeah, right.
some good music.
Right. Good
The
food.
food there
Yeah.
is a spiritual experience. There's something special about
No, you're
certain
right.
cities. New Orleans,
Do you think
Memphis.
do you think Vienna has that special?
Vienna is beautiful, but it's quiet.
I
and There's
know.
a lot of
Like bougie,
when are you going to the ski lift?
and when are we
energy.
getting our tort? I feel like there's a lot of torts.
Right. There's not a lot of flavor.
There's not a lot of flavor.
Yes.
I agree. So so the new
We
plan
have
is
tear of some flavor.
we should end there. That's a good
Yes.
button. That's a good button. Thank you for that. That was a beautiful way to talk to me.
Oh,
Thank you for that. And thank you
You
all for
sounded
writing me.
surprised.
Tori, sign your dad up for dating app or the Golden Bachelor.
The Golden Bachelor. Shelly, shut up. That's a good idea.
He's
Oh my goodness. That's a really good idea.
He would be a gold. He's an elevator in the house, so people with knee replacements.
No, God.
No, I'm serious. It's a good house because they installed an elevator, and it's like a nice one. And he's like the hit for the Jewish women in D.C. They're like, Jerry is an elevator. We want to go see Jerry.
All right.
The Golden Bachelor, they have a great chamber orchestra. That's, again, not a lot of flavor.
Yeah, just because they put an exclamation point on the end of it doesn't make it hot.
Someone said Jerry needs raw. We're ending it here.
That's it. Show's over.
That's it. We're
Julia
done.
ended the show. We are signing Jerry up for Raw 100%. I could just imagine your dad going, I have to take pictures. Like, no, Dad, every day. Every day you have to take pictures.
This is a good one.
I will I will say this. Shelly, we love you.
We love you, Shelly.
Guys, we appreciate you guys supporting us. And our show next week, which I'm excited about.
Yes.
I need you to get your energy up.
Okay.
Okay. Can you
Hold on.
maybe in your
Woo!
IGs?
Woo!
Yes. But join us next week, next Tuesday for Nothing Prepared with Al and Tori. It's going to be this. Tori will get to her newspaper. We have lots of cool segments.
Do you want to know about the Mayans and avocados? Because I did learn about that earlier in the car.
What did you learn about it?
That they had to grow it for like thousands of years, but once the avocado was introduced into their diet, they become a much healthier culture.
Okay, I didn't think you read it. All right. All right, guys. Thank you for your continued support. Please support our sponsors. Follow us on social media. But most of all, Night Owls, we love y'all.
Hoot hoot.
We out.
I'm sorry.